Hey, yeah, I'm not too loud. I got a bit of a headache. Was that with Courtney Lovell last night? Old Courtney come round. We had a few bottles of Baby Sham, a couple of snowballs. No, and we was thinking back to Kurt's funeral, right? Because I don't know if you read about it in the papers, but I was a very good friend of Kurt's. He was a very nice lad. You know, all that big Nirvana Smells Like Teen Spirit. He was loved nothing more than the game of drafts. He was a lovely fella. He'd sit there with a cup of coffee, and what he loved was a joke. He liked a gag. And I knew this. And I was invited to the funeral, and I went, and I was sitting just behind Mr. and Mrs. Cobain, right? And I was sitting there, and I thought, should I? Oh, we'd like if it was here. So what I done was he was on thing there, had the big and the coffin was on the, and just as it went through, right, just as it rolled through, just as it went to the doors, because he was crying, just as the doors opened, right, I went like that. Oh, that's all right. Oh, they didn't like it. They didn't like it at all, I'll tell you that. Oh, here's a big new product that's coming out, right? You've all got to get one of these. You know there's a Spice Girls doll, yeah? There's a Baywatch doll, yeah? There's Teletubbies things, right? And there's a Pamela Anderson doll. She's got her own doll. All these things, right? Richard Madeley's come to me, and he said, look at this that I'm modelling. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen, look. The Judy Poodle. Absolutely splendid. Look at that. I'll show you. Have a look. Where is it? It's in here. So look. Oh, it's taking the day off. Now then, what we got in here now? Look at this. Oh, when my big showbiz friends come round, as they often do, a lot of my friends from the soap operas, they like nothing more than a nice plate of beans like that. Maybe with a bit of toast, something like that, but they love, a soap star loves a tin of beans. That's nice. Unless Patsy Palmer comes round, don't try giving her them. Whoa! Oh, she'd bite your head off. Patsy Palmer, she has to have those, Bianca beans. And what's going on in here?
Shut up, you slag, Tracy. If I catch you out my dairy again, you're going to get it, because we're going down Lucky's tonight with Misha's. Just shut up, you slag. Shut up.
Oh, you see what's happened here? Look, Sharon fruit's gone off. Let's have a look what my family's got in here for. I don't quite understand what's going on here at all. What's all this about? Look, some ham. Some ham there, some value ham, and a photograph of my very good friend, Mr. Earl Spencer. Ham and Earl Spencer. I don't know what she's got in mind here. Let's have a look. Oh, I see. Yeah, very funny, my family. Yes, we appreciate that. Look, cheating ham. Right, now, you're very, very lucky to find me in, obviously, this time of night, because normally I'd be out and about. It's really pissing me off, right, when I come to visit my nan, she lives in these flats, right, and I've got my own parking space, right, and I say to people, if I'm not here, it don't matter, but when I'm coming, I hate if someone's been parking in my space, right? I put a sign up, but they do it. People just come along and they wind up parking in my space. I think it's a liberty. Tell you what I've got for you now, right? Something. Do you remember Piers Merchant? Was that his name, Piers Merchant? Yeah, you remember him, right? It was a rhetorical question actually, but it don't matter. Well done, right? I was at the news programme at the time, and we had the interview with someone from his constituency party, and sometimes these things go well, and sometimes they don't.
Just how much, if any, damage his latest contribution to so-called sleaze has done the Tory party is one of many questions that won't be answered until the new election. This is Claire Rucastle for London Today.
Well, let's go to Beckenham now. And Albert Miles is a member of the Beckenham Conservative Association. Mr. Miles, good afternoon. Let's start by going back a few months. Do you regret backing Mr. Merchant as your candidate in the election, bearing in mind what's happened since then?
Didn't get that all.
Do you regret backing Mr. Merchant, bearing in mind what's happened now?
Well, we're all mixed feelings at the moment with our MP, or our ex-MP, saying that he's resigned. It's quite a relief, because I'm sure he would have had to go if he hadn't resigned.
Do you feel betrayed?
Well, we all do. All the members of the executive and also of the Conservative Associations must feel betrayed by this MP.
Right, so you do feel betrayed. Right, Let's find out who's to blame, hey? Because you never know, there's two sides to every argument, so come on. Right, get in there now, let's have some really hard-hitting questions, come on.
Have you spoken to Mr. Merchant?
No, I have not spoken to him.
Oh, well, don't worry, come on.
Do you blame him, or do you blame the media?
Pardon?
Mr. Miles, do you blame Mr. Merchant, or do you blame the media for what's happened?
Come on.
Who do you blame?
I don't know.
You don't know who you blame. You feel betrayed. You must blame somebody. I think there's a feeling of betrayal there, down in Beckham. Thank you very much indeed, Albert Miles. Thank you. Well, let's move on now.
Yes, I think there's a feeling of betrayal, but I think the old man's just holding out on us. We go now back to the United States of America, right? Let me paint the scene for you. I'm sitting with my mate, the copper, in his car, and a bloke's gone shoom, flying by us on the highway, okay? He's going too fast, he's speeding, so we pulled over. I've got the camera, I've set the camera running, and my friend the policeman has gone out to nick him. There are certain ways you should act if you're arrested by the police. You shouldn't ever be, listen, especially young people, all right? You don't have to be completely diffident, all right? You do have rights as a citizen. On the other hand, they are only doing their job, and a certain amount of politeness, a certain modicum of common decency is called for on these occasions.
What's the day on that? I'll have to plead guilty if I gotta work, because I can't take the court to take the day off, you goddamn asshole! Now just give me the goddamn thing, let me get out of here. I didn't do nothing wrong, and I know I did. Now let me get the fuck out of here. I ain't in no hurry, but I did want to get some kills for my dog. It's just about ready to get the fuck out of here and give me that.
Can I explain it to you, sir, so you'll know what you need to do?
I know what I do. You're ripping me off, and I didn't deserve it because I didn't do nothing wrong. You're probably setting that parking lot, driving right back forth, get someone in the 40 miles up, whatever and frig it is. I never saw the sign. I saw it 55, and I was doing 57. That's all I know.
There's one or two people in that. There's either a cartoon character, right, or Jackie, Roseanne's sister. That's all I know. Okay, but basically, off he goes. The copper, you have to understand this, he don't know he's being filmed. The copper does, so conducts himself with a wonderful measured sarcasm.
What I need you to do is sign the X so I can explain this to you.
There ain't no explaining. I got picked up for speeding before. You're guilty and you pay the fine and hope your insurance don't go up. And you try not to speed the next time. And that's what I've been trying to do for 4 or 5 years, and it's worked damn good until I run into you, you asshole.
Now, the copper, again, knows he's being filmed, so it becomes more and more sarcastic, more and more measured. Right, do you think this guy has gone over the top? Yeah. Do you think this guy in this car is as over the top as it's possible to be? You ain't seen nothing. Because coming up shortly, he knows he's going to be fined, but he has no idea of the amount involved.
Read the instructions here. This says you have 20 days to respond to this summons. Read the back of this hard copy. This will explain how you can have a trial if you want. On the back, that'll explain it. Attaches an envelope. See? Put a stamp on that, you mail that in. They'll tell you what to do.
I can afford the stamp.
The fine's right here, sir. It's $137.50.
You're fucking crazy! You're fucking crazy! My wife took money out of her goddamn account where she's working to pay my fucking insurance, so I just picked up. You're fucking crazy!
Fucking crazy! Now I give you insult added to injury.
If you don't pick this up, sir, I'm going to summon you for littering.
Are you fucking crazy? I wasn't even speeding, you goddamn asshole! $100 and some dollars! Jesus fucking Christ!
And now I give you insult added to injury.
There's some more right there.
I've never heard of something like that in my life, you goddamn asshole! You fucking asshole! Let me get the fuck out of here, Christ, you goddamn miserable fucking... Jesus Christ! I don't mind. I feel bad for the guys out of work. I pay my goddamn state taxes. A good fucking bunch, too, let me tell you.
And now, coming up, just as he's reached the very peak, and suddenly he realises A, littering, B, speeding, and also he hasn't given him an insurance document, right? He's uninsured, and suddenly comes flat back down to earth.
I'm giving you a warning on the failure to produce insurance. That's expired.
Didn't I give you another one?
Right, it's a very interesting game now. I think it's going to be very, very popular on New Cities of Gladiators. This is the stagecoach at armour. And what's happened, the contestant sits here thus, and then the gladiator will have his own stagecoach at armour thither. And it'll be, gladiator, are you ready? Contestant, are you ready? And what they will do, they will hitch up Ulrika like that with a bridle, and Ulrika will have to pull the whole damn shebang like that, up to the other end like that, and then back here, and then they'll join Jeremy down here, and it's the first one to prepare either the gladiator or the contestant a nice little picnic salad there. I'll tell you the truth, ladies and gentlemen, it amazes me. You can get a publishing deal for anything these days. This bloke here, Michael Hardcastle, he's done a series of books about the sexual organs of celebrities. He's done one on Jeremy Beadle, one on Tarby, one on Michael Barrymore. That wasn't much of a volume, obviously. And he said to me, can you do it on me? So I have a couple of grand. Yeah, so he's written a book about that. He said, you might want to buy it if you see it in the shops. That's it. Now, this book is a fascinating book. This is written by my very good friend, Mr. Mao Zedong. Because I used to be on the phone to him all the time when he was completely reinventing China. And he was spreading communism across that huge nation. And I used to say to him, sorry, Mao, Millsy, yeah, all right, darling, yeah, and you, yeah. For the telly, I'll drop the hat and the jacket. All right, darling, yeah. Yeah, I've just, this thing where you're doing, where you're completely changing the whole social and political outlook of the country, do you have canapes at that and little sausage rolls? And do you have to sit people in a certain order? And do you do a certain wine with the red meat and a certain wine with the chicken? And in the end, he got so annoyed with me doing it, he wrote this book just for me, just so I would know, basically. A revolution is not a dinner party. Eureka! She goes, what do you want? That's not you. It's an old Greek phrase. And then Nana Mouskouri turned up and it all got completely out. Right, here we go. I'm going to show you one of them programmes that I make now on the television. This is another one of the Americans I make when I go out with the cops in America. You've probably seen them on the telly, haven't you? Here we go. Let's have a look at this. Look.
Independence, Missouri Police Department's hopped up a car that's running on 3 wheels, apparently.
Go ahead and suspend me for my call.
And they're chasing him up I-70 right now. He's only doing about 35 miles an hour,
322.
but he won't pull over. So they got the county and Independence chasing him. He should be coming up on us here in a minute.
So they got a car running on 3 wheels and they've got all these policemen. But how are they going to spot it? Probably so many cars on the freeway. Now, how are they possibly going to spot that one? That'll be it.
I can't believe that car's still going. That's amazing.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the chap we're after. Now, many years ago, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't mind me calling you that, I used to work up north, strangely enough. I gave it up in the end because you couldn't get, like, biscuits or anything up there. But this is a programme I made with 2 people, John McGregor and Ray Gosling. And it's basically it's a programme where one of them would be, it's called On Site, one of them would be on site, Gosling, and John McGregor would be live in the studio, and they'd have a debate about a big issue of the day in the local area, which, you know, you can guess what it was up north. Ah, custard, thick or thin? But anyway, let's have a look what we got.
We have an assurance from...
Oh, sorry, this bloke, let me warn you straight away. Have you, anyone here ever been on the television? Right, let me tell you one thing about being on the television. It is irresistible. You think you won't do it, you promise yourself you won't do it. Right up to the second the camera starts rolling, you're telling yourself you won't do it, but you will. You'll do it.
Mr. Fisher, that he is going to come round and inspect the properties and do what he can. We've had advice from Mr.
Do it. It's got to be done, hasn't it? Always finish, even in practice. Anyway, let's have a... Who is he, this bloke? Anyway, hang on.
We pass on now to introduce a man who has spent his life creating more and more new sites for gypsies and tinkers in the Northwest. And he does it by something we're quite familiar with.
Making ridiculous faces on camera. so what we're going to do now, we're going to cross over live. This guy here wants the Gypsy encampment, and he's with John McGregor. Over with Ray Gosling are opponents of the Gypsy encampment. Now, Ray's got two problems. A, OK, he's got a bit of heart-searching because he's right on the, you know, he agrees with the Gypsy cause. B, and you're not to laugh at this, right, he's got numerical dyslexia, right, which a lot of people have, and it's not funny, so I don't want any stupid child is giggling. Thank you.
I feel a little bit odd because I've always supported gypsies and everybody agrees there should be some proper sites to park in each town. But the people who've come with me now are not happy at having them with them. They're four farmers, there should be by now.
Five, actually. It really doesn't matter because we're with you 100%.
Made a little bit of film showing the site and how close it is to the houses. Here is the little piece of film. It's near to a hotel called the Lee Gate between Preston and Blackpool, which a lot of people will recognise because it's near what was the main road to Blackpool before the motorway was built.
Now, how could they possibly think about putting a gypsy camp in front of a beautiful hotel like that? My God, they must be mad.
And you don't like it?
No. No, we don't like it at all. They'll bring a lot of dogs, they'll keep a lot of sheep and cattle. And we're afraid of them worrying a lot of the sheep and we'll not be able to look after them at all.
Well, they're farmers, and that's what they worry about. All the gypsy dogs worrying their sheep and cattle. That's fair enough. Maybe it's a bit unenlightened, but this was back in the 70s.
No, how many there would be accommodated
well,
on that
15
site?
or 20 families, and as I was going on to say, it is quite near, but quite a distance away from houses. It will not interfere with your farms.
Each of those families will have 2 dogs each. And we've had enough worrying of sheep and one thing.
I'll tell you this, Mr. Farmer.
I think you'll find that's his title rather than his name. How would you like if he said, well, I'll tell you this, Mr. Stupid Face Puller.
If your sheep worry the dogs, I will be the first to come down and see you.
I'll bet you would.
Yeah, I think what they're worried about is the dogs worrying the sheep. But fine, now maybe the sheep will worry the dogs.
I'm going to have this site, whether you and your sheep like it or not. And I'm not stuffing it down your throat. It's simply that people are far more important than sheep. These people have had a bad time. And Preston is now going to pay back the whole of the 8 years.
Now then, Jim, what have you to say about this?
Well, I think, if he hadn't any sheep, he wouldn't be able to live without something to eat. And
that's a bit of a
I don't know. I think sheep
come
are
on,
more
Ray, keep your people serious. Ray, will you keep this conversation serious? You know, we're talking about human beings, not silly sheep.
We've been perfectly serious.
You're not being serious at all when you talk about something to eat and all that. Come on, we've got sensible questions, put them.
Can we now talk about the Lee Gate site?
Yes, I thought we had been talking
about now then, in there, the ingress...
Right, I'll tell you what's coming out now. Firstly, John McGregor, how do you know their sheep are silly? They might be clever sheep who know what dyslexia means and everything. You don't know, right? But what he's going to do now, this farmer here, he's going to baffle them with big words. He's going to make them look really stupid, look.
In there, the ingress and egress comes out onto a very dangerous main road.
Does he mean entrance and exit?
Yes.
That's right.
Yes, I did actually, sorry. I was just showing off in front of Mr. Farmer.
Have we ever seen a clean gypsy site?
That's a very interesting question. Now, I'm very pleased that you've asked that.
Very good question. Have you ever seen a clean gypsy site? Well, of course. They're all absolutely beautiful and all shined up and the chrome's all lovely and it's all peaceful there and heavenly and you're a bad Mr. Farmer for saying otherwise.
Have you ever been on a gypsy site, Mr. Farmer?
Well, any place I've seen where there've been tinkers we've seen nothing else
Will you
but
answer the question, have you ever been on a gypsy site?
We don't know the difference.
Right, and you should,
You've got the most devious bunch of gentlemen there, Gosling, you really
Yes, a gypsy site...
Devious? You're a bit devious calling his sheep silly, is that, McGregor?
A gypsy site, gentlemen, is a place where people live in harmony and in generosity and they have good neighbours.
Right. And there is the argument. A Gypsy's home is a clean place, it's a place where they live in peace and harmony, where they have good neighbours, and where you don't have to worry about stupid, silly sheep being worried by dogs. And just the end of the programme coming up, and they've won. I think we can safely say they've won. They've got no moral stance at all, the farmers. They've won. And John McGregor, very happy, you can see, have a look in the closing credit, very happy to have him as his guest. Yes, you've made your point, absolutely, that there's no danger at all from the dogs. Well done, we've won. We'll have a glass of sherry afterwards.
Gypsy dogs are no different from your own. They have a job to do, and that is to protect the caravan, and that they do very well. And anybody coming near it, well, you take your life into your hands, same as your sheep.
Yeah, I'd rather you didn't mention the bit about them ripping your throat out. Just kind of muddies the water slightly.
Do you regret doing the Judy Poodle gag in the light of what happened to Judy?
Sorry, Conrad, I didn't quite get that.
Well, I mean, do you blame yourself for what happened to Judy, or do you blame the media?
I don't know.
Well, either way, it's quite simple. We're in breach of ITC guidelines and regulations, and they fined us £180.
Ah! You fucking crazy! You fucking never you asshole!
Well, pick that up, I'll take the dog.
Ah, well, you come near my dog and you put your life in your hands, as indeed for your sheep.